Our human story is a long and winding journey. It stretches back hundreds of thousands of years. For much of that time, we were not the only humans on this planet. Our close relatives, the Neanderthals, lived across the vast landscapes of Europe and Asia. They were strong and remarkably adapted to the harsh climates of the Ice Age. We, Homo sapiens, emerged from Africa and eventually met them. For thousands of years, our two kinds of human lived side by side. It was during this ancient time that our stories intertwined in a very personal way. Our ancestors interbred with Neanderthals, creating a shared heritage. This ancient mixing of peoples left a permanent mark. It is written directly into our DNA, the very blueprint of life. Today, most people living outside of Africa carry small traces of Neanderthal genes. It is usually only 1 or 2% of our total genetic makeup, yet this small fraction is a powerful echo from our deep past. These genes have been passed down through countless generations, a silent testament to encounters that happened more than 50,000 years ago. They are a living connection to a world that has long since vanished, a world of mammoths and great ice sheets. These ancient fragments of DNA are not just silent passengers, they can influence our bodies in subtle ways. Scientists have discovered that Neanderthal genes can affect our skin, our hair color, and even how our immune systems respond to diseases. It is quite extraordinary to think that the way your body fights off a cold might be partly influenced by a gene from a Neanderthal ancestor. This genetic legacy shows us that the line between us and them is wonderfully blurred. We are, in a very real sense, a mosaic of different human histories, all combined into one species. Understanding this shared inheritance is like being an archaeologist of the human body. Instead of digging through soil, scientists dig through the vast library of our genetic code. Each discovery tells a part of the story of how our species came to be. It reveals the challenges our ancestors faced and the clever ways they adapted to survive. The story of Neanderthal genes is not just about the past, it is about understanding who we are today and why our bodies work the way they do. It is a profound reminder that we carry our history within us in every cell of our being. Within the vast landscape of our DNA, there are specific genes that act as instructions for our bodies. One of these is a gene called AMPD1. This particular gene has a very important job. It is responsible for making an enzyme that works inside our muscle cells. Think of it as a tiny manager in a factory. Its role is to help our muscles manage their energy supply, especially when they are working hard. When we run or lift something heavy, our muscles need a rapid source of fuel to contract powerfully and efficiently. The AMPD1 gene is key to this process. The enzyme made by the AMPD1 gene is called adenosine monophosphate deaminase. This is a very long name, so scientists often just call it AMPD. When our muscles use up their primary energy source, a molecule called ATP, they create a byproduct. This byproduct needs to be cleared away efficiently so the muscle can keep working. The AMPD enzyme helps to do this. It keeps the energy cycle turning smoothly inside the muscle cell. A healthy supply of this enzyme means our muscles can sustain high-intensity effort for longer, maintaining their power and avoiding fatigue. Imagine your muscles are like a car engine. ATP is the high-octane fuel that makes the engine roar. As the fuel is burned, it creates exhaust. If the exhaust is not cleared, the engine will choke and lose power. The AMPD enzyme is like the exhaust system, making sure everything runs cleanly and powerfully. When this system is working at full capacity, the engine can perform at its peak. This is why the AMPD1 gene is so crucial for activities that demand sudden bursts of strength or speed, from sprinting to escape danger to lifting a heavy object. For most modern humans, the AMPD1 gene works at 100% efficiency. It produces a fully functional enzyme that does its job perfectly. This allows our muscles to perform as expected under stress. It is the standard version of the gene that has been carried by Homo sapiens for a very long time. It is a vital piece of our biological machinery, honed by evolution to help us move, hunt, and survive in a challenging world. This gene is a fundamental part of what makes our bodies such capable and dynamic organisms, ready for action when needed. When scientists began to study the DNA recovered from ancient Neanderthal bones, they made a fascinating discovery. They found that Neanderthals had a slightly different version of the AMPD1 gene. This was a variation, a small change in the genetic code that resulted in a different kind of instruction. This Neanderthal version of the gene did not produce the same highly efficient enzyme that most modern humans have. Instead, it created an enzyme that was less stable and worked much less effectively. It was a lower power model, so to speak. This less active enzyme would have had a direct impact on Neanderthal muscle function. With the AMPD enzyme operating at a much lower capacity, their muscles would have been less efficient at recycling energy during intense physical exertion. This does not mean they were weak. In fact, their skeletons show they were incredibly strong and robust. However, it does suggest that their muscles might have become tired more quickly during short, explosive activities. There would have been a slightly lower ceiling on their peak muscle performance, a subtle limit on their anaerobic power. Because our ancestors interbred with Neanderthals, this particular gene variant was not lost to time. It crossed over into the Homo sapiens gene pool. As modern humans spread out of Africa and across the world, they carried this Neanderthal gene with them. Today, this variant is found most commonly in people of European and Western Asian descent. It is a direct, living link to the Neanderthals. A significant portion of these populations, perhaps up to 1 in 5 people, carries at least one copy of this ancient gene, a quiet echo of their distant ancestry. For a person who inherits this Neanderthal gene variant, the effect is a noticeable reduction in the activity of the AMPD enzyme in their muscles. Their bodies simply produce less of this crucial energy-managing protein. This can lead to what is known as exercise-induced myopathy. During strenuous exercise, they might experience muscle cramps, pain, or a feeling of fatigue more quickly than someone without the variant. It is a subtle difference, but one that connects a modern person's experience at the gym directly to the biology of our ancient relatives who lived tens of thousands of years ago. Why would a gene that slightly reduces muscle efficiency continue to exist in a large part of the human population? Evolution often removes traits that are not helpful. One theory is that as human lifestyles changed, the intense pressure for peak muscle performance may have lessened. With the development of agriculture and more settled societies, the need for explosive bursts of power, such as those required in a dangerous hunt, may have become less critical for survival. In this new context, a slightly less powerful muscle enzyme would not have been a major disadvantage, so the gene was able to persist. For the vast majority of people who carry the Neanderthal AMPD1 variant, it has no impact on their daily lives. They live perfectly normal, healthy lives. The effects only tend to become noticeable under specific conditions of high physical stress. An elite athlete trying to shave a fraction of a second off their sprint time might notice the difference. Or someone undertaking a new, very intense exercise program might experience more fatigue or cramping. In everyday activities, from walking and climbing stairs to carrying groceries, the body has other energy pathways it can use, so the limitation is never revealed. Studying these ancient genes does more than just satisfy our curiosity about the past. It provides crucial insights into our own health and biology. Understanding how a gene like AMPD1 affects muscle energy can help doctors diagnose unexplained muscle pain or fatigue in some individuals. It also gives us a clearer picture of human diversity. It shows that there is no single perfect human genome. Instead, we are all a collection of different genetic legacies, each with its own ancient story and its own subtle effects on our modern bodies. A wonderful tapestry of history. In the end, these tiny pieces of Neanderthal DNA are a powerful reminder of our deep and shared history. They show us that the story of humanity is not one of a single linear path, but a complex web of interactions between different groups of people. They connect us to our ancient relatives and to the world they inhabited. By exploring these genetic echoes, we learn not only about where we came from, but we gain a more profound understanding of the remarkable biological machines that are our own bodies. Our past is not just buried in the ground, it is alive and well, written within each of us.